In the last episode, we saw Emma's chilling drawing and her simple yet terrifying words. Daddy put something in Mommy's water. A child's innocent observation became the key that unlocked a Pandora's box of secrets. The detectives, now armed with this disturbing new lead, knew they were no longer investigating a tragic accident. They were hunting a monster. Detective Miller and Detective Hayes worked through the night, fueled by coffee and a growing sense of urgency. They dove back into Michael and Jennifer Harrison's lives, but this time they weren't looking for signs of a happy marriage. They were looking for the cracks, the lies, the motive. They revisited financial records, phone logs, and started pulling on threads they had previously overlooked. Michael's constant business trips seemed more frequent than any sales manager would need. His credit card statements showed odd purchases from online chemical suppliers. Small inconsistencies were now glaring red flags. Their investigation led them to a dusty filing cabinet in the Harrisons' home office, a place they'd glanced at before but hadn't searched thoroughly. Tucked away in a folder labeled Household Expenses was a document that made their blood run cold. It was a life insurance policy for Jennifer Harrison. The payout, a staggering $500,000, and the date it was signed, just 3 weeks before her death. The beneficiary, of course, was her loving husband, Michael. This was it. The motive. This wasn't a tragedy, it was a payday. Miller slammed the file down on the table. He poisoned her for this, he said, his voice a low growl. But as they kept digging, the horror intensified. They found another folder, this one newer, thinner. Inside was an application, not yet finalized, but filled out in Michael's neat, precise handwriting. It was another life insurance policy, for the same amount, $500,000. But the name on this policy wasn't Jennifer's, it was Rachel's. The realization hit them like a physical blow. He was going to do it again. Jennifer wasn't a one-time crime of passion or greed. She was practice. Rachel, the grieving sister, the one who had stepped in to care for her niece, was next on his list. The charming, doting father was a predator, patiently waiting to strike again. They had to move fast. Rachel and Emma were in imminent danger. The detectives immediately contacted Rachel and brought her down to the station, away from the house, away from any potential danger. They laid out the evidence in a quiet room, the insurance documents stark against the cold metal table. Rachel stared at them, her face draining of all color. Disbelief warred with a creeping, sickening understanding. The man she had leaned on, the man who was her brother-in-law, had been planning to kill her. The kindness, the support, it was all a performance. He was just biding his time. He's on a business trip, she whispered, her voice trembling. He's in Portland. He's supposed to be back tomorrow night. We need your help, Rachel, Detective Miller said gently but firmly. When he calls, we need you to act normal. Don't let him suspect anything. We need him to walk right into our trap. The plan was set. Rachel, showing a strength she never knew she possessed, agreed. That evening, as expected, her phone rang. It was Michael. She took a deep, shuddering breath, a detective giving her a nod of encouragement. She answered, her voice practiced, calm. Hello? Just checking in. Michael's smooth voice came through the speaker. How are things? How's Emma? She's okay, Rachel said, forcing the words out. She's still not eating much, though. I'm worried about her. She was playing her part, referencing the conversation she'd told the detectives about. The one where Michael had dismissed her concerns about Emma's appetite. There was a pause on the other end. Then his voice, stripped of all its usual warmth, came back, cold and sharp. I see. Do something about it before I'm back. The line went dead. The mask had slipped just for a second, but it was enough. The man on the phone was not a grieving husband. He was a commander giving an order. He was a killer. Rachel hung up, her hand shaking uncontrollably. She had done it. The next night, the air at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport was thick with anticipation. Undercover officers blended in with the crowds of travelers greeting loved ones. Detectives Miller and Hayes stood near the arrival's gate, their eyes scanning every face that came through. They waited. Then they saw him. Michael Harrison, walking with the confident stride of a successful sales manager returning from a business trip, a fake smile plastered on his face. He pulled his rolling suitcase behind him, completely unaware that his world was about to end. As he stepped out into the main terminal, Miller and Hayes moved in. Michael Harrison. Detective Miller's voice was calm, but carried an authority that cut through the airport noise. Michael's smile faltered. Yes, can I help you? You're under arrest for the murder of Jennifer Harrison. The color drained from Michael's face. The confident businessman vanished, replaced by a cornered animal. He tried to protest, to feign outrage, but it was too late. As he was handcuffed, the detectives added the other charges: insurance fraud, and based on a warrant-backed search of his luggage, illegal possession of the very chemicals used to poison his wife. The trap had sprung. The news broke the next morning, sending shockwaves across Seattle. The headlines were sensational. Pharmaceutical sales manager arrested for poisoning his wife. The monster behind the smile. Television screens were filled with Michael's smiling family photos, now juxtaposed with the grim image of his mugshot. The loving husband was a monster, a calculated serial poisoner hiding in plain sight. Back in their safe house, Rachel had the TV on. Emma sat on the floor, playing quietly with her dolls, seemingly oblivious. But then, a news report showed Michael's face. Emma looked up, her expression unreadable. She pointed a small finger at the screen. "Is Daddy a bad person?" she asked, her voice small and clear. Tears welled in Rachel's eyes. She knelt and pulled her niece into a tight, protective hug, burying her face in Emma's hair. This little girl had endured the unimaginable. She had lost her mother and now, in a way, her father too. But she had also done something extraordinary. "You're so brave," Rachel whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "Daddy did a very bad thing, but you told the truth. You remembered what you saw, and you told us." She held Emma at arm's length, looking her right in the eyes. "You saved me, and you saved yourself. You're our hero." In that moment, a little girl's crayon drawing became a symbol of justice. A child's memory, a voice that refused to be silenced, had stopped a monster. The facade had finally collapsed, revealing the terrible truth, all thanks to the littlest witness. The case was closed, but for Rachel and Emma, the long journey of healing was just beginning. Thank you so much for following this incredible story. The power of a single voice, no matter how small, can change everything. If you were captivated by this journey, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the mysteries that hide just beneath the surface. We'll see you next time.